I am so excited to introduce our guest entrepreneur, Regan Hillyer.
I keep bringing in the legends. I keep bringing in the showstoppers. I've got to bring those people in, and we've got none other than Regan Hillyer. Regan, thank you for being here.
Regan International is driven by a vision that everyone has the ability to unlock their greatness and achieve extensive financial and personal abundance.
And she's a self-made multimillionaire, serial entrepreneur, success coach, Forbes contributor, thought leader, keynote speaker, all of the crazy, amazing, good things.
The hunger for more. 1, 2, 3, go!
From Anarchapulco, Mexico, this is Anarchast.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet. I've got two great guests coming in. It's actually two people who were referred to me by Christoph Melchizedek. I always say his name wrong. He's going to be speaking again at Anarchapulco this year, and he said he really wanted to have these two people, Regan and Juanpa, involved in Anarchapulco, and he said he's got them agreeing to it, and he sent me some of their information, and it looks amazing what they talk about. They go around the world trying to help people free themselves, how to be more abundant, things like that. A lot of the stuff that we talk about here and on the Dollar Vigilante channel as well. And they're actually, and it seems like they travel a lot. I just have been trying to connect with them. They're actually just arrived in Peru, in area of Peru. We'll ask them about that, and we'll just get into it because I actually have never talked to them before. I just briefly via email, so I'm going to, along with you, get to know them. So thanks for coming on, guys. And the first question I always ask everyone is, how did you become a voluntarist? And either of you can answer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, thanks for having us. And yeah, in terms of my story, I mean, I grew up in Auckland, New Zealand, and was very much born into the system where I was expected to go to school and work really hard and get good grades. And I went down this path, and, you know, my father always said to me, Regan, if I had your opportunities, I would have been an architect. And so I started studying architecture at university, right? And I went forward, and I had actually a lecturer who really woke me up in this one moment. And he got us to do a visualization process where we picture the future of the architect that we're supposedly born to be. And everyone got super inspired and excited by that. And I got absolutely terrified because I saw this picture of this future out in front of me that I realized I was conforming to from other people's rules. And so it was in that moment where I went, hang on, let me actually ask some questions here. Maybe there's something outside of this system. Maybe I do actually have the ability to create a life that I'm madly in love with from my soul, not from a projection of what someone else has told me I should be doing in my life. And so, you know, that threw me into personal development at a really young age and investing heavily in different mentors and coaches and education and, you know, a lot of trial and errors there. But, you know, I hit a place where I was really looking for the answers outside of myself initially. And I had a mentor that actually flipped that and said, hey, Regan, if you really want true freedom, this starts from within. This doesn't start from grasping outside of you. You've got to turn inwards. And so the minute I started doing that, everything shifted. So, you know, if we fast forward to now with, you know, multiple different, we call them freedom businesses, right? Because they're created on our terms, and we really help people all over the world step into a true life of freedom in whatever way that looks like for them. And generally speaking, that's outside of the system and even creating new systems so people can actually flow in a higher way. Yeah, that's the core of it.
Yeah. Well, my name is Juanpa, and I was born in Costa Rica. Very different story from my end. At 9 years old, my brother got really sick, and the medical system told him he was gonna last one or 2 years. And we totally rebelled. We're like, no way, this is not happening. We're gonna make him just live as many years as we can. And we started traveling healers, shamans, everything you can imagine. I started opening my mind to all that wasn't available really by the system in those times. And it just opened me up to help people. I saw like how my brother got better and better, and I saw the craziest things happening with healers and shamans, and I learned so much myself that I got fascinated with helping people free themselves. And I was just seeing so many people dying and conforming to the system and what the system had to tell them, that I'm like, I am an awakener. I am here to help people realize who they are and let go of all the beliefs that have been set and we took as truth. So that was my mission since I was young. I was like always being the positive one in my house and at school, and always I went too much to like almost to the perfect, trying to be the perfect child, you know, until like at 15 years old, I rebelled and I'm like, no, I'm the rebel. I hate the system and I don't want to be the perfect one. And I kind of got lost into substances a little bit and into partying and kind of went to the other extreme. But that just took me to my inner freedom to see that that wasn't freedom, that it wasn't about, I even became violent with the system and, you know, in my university, and I was against everything, but I realized that wasn't taking me anywhere. That the freedom was really from within, and I didn't even need substances to feel freedom. And at 17 years old, I quitted everything and I got into a community of leadership and started really doing the real work and getting free from inside. And then from there, just traveled the world helping people free themselves and connect with their inner power. That's what I've been about for more than 25 years.
Wow, definitely it makes a lot of sense for you guys to come to Anarchapulco, because a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about is very similar to what the path that you guys have been on. And actually, you mentioned, actually first, before I get into this, I actually want to play a short clip of you got a little bit of video of yourselves doing some of the going around and talking and stuff like that. I thought it was really good, so we're going to throw that in just right now.
I am so excited to introduce our guest entrepreneur, Regan Hillyer.
I keep bringing in the legends. I keep bringing in the showstoppers. I've got to bring those people in, and we've got none other than Regan Hillyer. Regan, thank you for being here.
Regan International is driven by a vision that everyone has the ability to unlock their greatness and achieve extensive financial and personal abundance.
And she's a self-made multimillionaire, serial entrepreneur, success coach, Forbes contributor, thought leader, keynote speaker, all of the crazy, amazing, good things.
How are you guys? We need to give you permission to dream again. You know, what if you just gave yourself permission?
Regan, you are the most extraordinary human that I know. You have taken me to places I didn't necessarily even want to go.
Whatever's different for you, start painting this vision, because your mind and your energetics and how this works, it really doesn't know the difference between dreams and reality.
This book ties into our topic.
Once I make the millions of dollars, then I'll be the millionaire. When I'm in the amazing relationship, then I'll be totally in love. Guys, the higher self comes first. It comes first. You can either get out of the car, you can give up and you can say it was so scary, or you can continue to drive towards your vision. And you can say, fear, you know what? I respect you trying to keep me safe, but I've got this. Get in the back seat. Like if you come from a history of slavery, that slavery is coded in your cells, right? And now that's maybe unfortunate, but the minute you see that and you start to look at that and you do the work to clear that out and shift that, you change your vibe, right? And then when we change our vibe, we change our frequency. When we change our frequency, we permeate the field around us, and then our reality starts becoming very different.
For more. 1, 2, 3, go! We are creating this together. We say yes together. And that's how we create magic, you guys. It's the result of what you're open to. That's how it works. And it's like, okay, how present am I right now to let this energy flow and go as deep as we can go? We're doing it right now with your thought, with your emotions, with your presence. Listening to me, feeding the group right now. You're making money right now.
Every now and then you come across someone who's super special and has a very unique gift. And recently for me, that was coming across Juanpa and his phenomenal, deep, transformative work.
I am here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Show me, reveal to me my purpose, deeper and deeper layers of my purpose. I am open, I am ready. Are you ready? Yeah!
We will have inspirations to go deeper, but you don't depend on them, you're just awakening who you are.
Juanpa's just an awesome teacher, transformational leader. He's such a giver of his talents and everything that he's learned. He's been on his own journey, and now he's sharing that journey with all of us, and it's a beautiful thing.
You gotta be present every breath, guys. Every breath. We're not kidding around here.
Juan Pablo is a unique teacher who draws together the learnings of many disciplines from around the world and integrates them into a unique, powerful, and beautiful style of teaching.
So always purpose. That's your pillar number one, guys. That's pillar number one of success. Not because something's gonna make me money, not because this is what's your purpose. It's helping people, it's giving to others, it's being you.
Yeah, amazing stuff. You guys I don't know what you know about Anarchapulco or that sort of a thing, but it actually started off about 5 years ago with a lot of kind of angry people and a lot of people wearing black t-shirts, and they knew the government was a big problem in their lives, and still is, but over the last 5 years, so many of us have transformed from being kind of just angry and upset and that sort of a thing to actually what you both mentioned, which is kind of going inside of yourself to work on yourself to actually be more free in that respect. And through that, actually, Anarchapulco started a whole health and wellness sort of event a few years ago, which has become incredibly popular, where people work on themselves in so many different ways, so many different types of things, including psychedelics and things like that. And you actually mentioned, Juanpa, that you kind of got into like drinking too much and that sort of a thing. I did it as well. And then I started to realize a lot of these things. And now I live such a better life because I've come to a lot of these realizations. So, what would you say to people out there, like, who might be watching and going, I don't know what these guys are talking about. Like, go inside yourself, find your true passion, your freedom, all this sort of stuff. Like, to some people, they just haven't really heard that before.
Yeah. For me, it's really like the passion. What are your gifts? Why are you here for? We're not here, just to make money or just to live life and have a family and children, and like we've all got gifts. So really taking the time to see like here, like what's there for you, what's your fire, what lights you up in the morning, and get up and feel inspired. Inspired. It's like in spirit. For me, inspiration is living in spirit, living with your soul, living with your heart, living with your inner genius coming up. New ideas, new projects, new relationships, like letting just life flow through you instead of thinking that you're almost getting through life. So it's really living from thriving in life instead of surviving and trying to almost just barely make it.
Yeah, totally. And, I kind of learned this lesson the hard way a little bit when I was starting out in my personal development journey and really on a quest for how do I create a life that I love outside of the systems that I'm familiar with. And I was, like I said, investing in all these different courses and everything was outside of me. It was, how do I invest in real estate? How do I learn sales and marketing, like all these things from the outside, right? And I got into a place where I was over 6 figures in personal debt credit cards, personal loans, things like that, maxed out from every corner, but nothing was working and I wasn't seeing results and I couldn't understand why. And I even said to one of my mentors, I said, look, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I'm not meant to live this life that I'm dreaming of. Maybe that's for the other people. And then that's when he said to me, he said, Regan, you've missed the boat entirely. Success in whatever you want to create is 80% the internal game, 80% your psychology, your energy, your wiring from the inside out, and then 20% what you do strategically on the outside. And the 20% is still important and you still need to know what to do on the outside. But I had that flipped. I was like 80-20 the wrong way. And the minute I actually flipped that and actually turned within from the inside out, that's when my life started changing and I started seeing results.
Yeah, that's great. So many people, like you said at the start, Regan, like you kind of like the society kind of puts you in this sort of thing, and they give you all these programming. Basically, you're basically brainwashed in a lot of ways through the government schools, through the television programming. You have to do this. You have to get a job. You have to work till you're 65, and then you're going to sit on a beach. Like it's ridiculous, actually. And I actually. I think retirement, for me, when people say, well, when do you want to retire? I'm like, what do you mean? What is that? Like, what, I'm going to just stop living like my passion, doing passionate things at some point? Like, that sounds like death to me. But a lot of people, like, they're kind of, they've listened to that, and so many people have, and they're kind of like in their 9-to-5 job. They don't even like their job. They're, a lot of them are probably doing similar things that you did. And I did a lot of them as well. I took a lot of courses, and I wanted to be a stockbroker, and I was studying all this stuff. But what would you say to a person right now who's kind of stuck? They think everything's in your mind. They don't realize they're not, but they think they are. What would you just say to them? They're working this job they don't like. What should they be doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I really feel like if someone's watching this or listening to this and they feel this way, the most important thing to remember is that you are in control of all of this. And it's actually a process of taking your power back, because we've unconsciously and consciously given our power away to so many people and systems and our parents and our co-workers and the universities and the schools and the governments, and I could go on, right? But all these systems that we've consciously or unconsciously gone, oh, that's just the way it is. When really, the minute we start asking a question, well, is that the way it is? And is there another way? And what if there was another option available? And if I was to actually ask for what I want in my life, what would be different right now? And so I feel like this process of inquiry and transformation starts with this process of actually questioning everything and not just going, oh, that's just how it is because I've been brought up this way and that's all I know, but instead pulling it apart a little bit and getting curious. And maybe there is no other answer, but what if there is and you're actually missing it? I feel that's where people get to start with this.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's, looking back at my life a little bit, so to give people some examples, when I started the Dollar Vigilante, which is sort of my financial channel, sort of a newsletter sort of a thing, and then I started Anarchast, this show in 2011. I started Dollar Vigilante in 2010. Anyone I told what I was planning on doing said I was crazy. They said, that's crazy. You're going to talk about anarchy. Everyone thinks that's just people who throw bombs. People are going to think you're crazy. It's never going to catch on. I talked about the financial aspects of a lot of this stuff, and coming from like a very anarcho-capitalist sort of angle, and people were like, that's crazy, no one's going to understand what you're talking about, no one's going to listen, and now we're 10 years later, and I've got numerous large businesses, including Anarchapulco, which we're expecting up to 3,000 people this year, all because I felt this passion. It was actually way back then that I was like, I have to tell people what I've learned, because I knew most people didn't know a lot of this stuff, and a lot of it was on the financial side to start. But I had no real idea exactly how it would all work out. How would I eventually make some sort of a living from doing this? But I just jumped into it, and that's actually something. And you talked about entrepreneurism actually before we started this show, that I've been my whole life. So every business I've ever started, it started with just kind of like throwing yourself off a cliff, and all your friends and family going, you're crazy, you're stupid, you're going to quit your job at the bank and just try to do this thing? That's That's crazy. And every time for me, it's always worked out quite well. I've had some business failures, absolutely. But in general, it's always worked out way better than even I thought it could. Actually, a million times better than I thought it could, really. Although at the same time, and I have to say this, I always have there's a thing about me, and I don't know if it's just like, I don't know if other people don't have this or not, but I have this like confidence that whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to really do well at it. Like it's just something innate or something, maybe I got some opposite brainwashing when I was a kid. I always have this confidence. So I don't know if other people maybe don't have that. So they're kind of like, oh, I don't know if I can do it, that kind of a thing. But when I do something, I even though I don't know how it's going to work out, and I don't know if it's going to work out, I know that I'm going to do my very best at it, and I'm going to do well at whatever it was, even if it ends up failing. So maybe you could talk from that perspective on kind of like entrepreneurialism and you know, taking those chances and following your passion, which I talk a lot about, because so many people are just doing things, as Juanpa said, like just they don't even care about what they're doing. If you're doing that, you should just like stop immediately. And I don't mean like 2 weeks from now. I don't mean tomorrow. I mean like right now. If you're I'm serious about this. If you're working at a job and you just hate it and you have no passion for it, just quit like right now. And I know a lot of people are going to write in the comments, oh, Jeff, you know, some people could be living on the street tomorrow because of you. It's like, I doubt it actually. And actually that's what a lot more people kind of need to do. What do you guys think?
Yeah, man, I just want to start with this question for everyone that for me just changed my life and really got me into entrepreneurs. And it's like, are you being raw and real with yourself? Are you really living your dream? Are you really, living the life that you deserve to dream, because to live? Because many of us, as you said, we're numb. We're like zombies, and we're like used to like, oh, this is just, we conform that life is like that. And no, we don't have to have pain in our bodies. We don't have to have our mind foggy. We don't have to have emotions go up and down. We don't have to, be super overweight, or we don't have to barely make it financially. We don't have to wake up and need 10 cups of coffee in order to feel energy. This is bullshit. This is part of what they taught us it was normal, but it's part of the domestication that has been in society. I call it domestication because we're all born wild. We all have this inner wild in us that is like that creative being that wants to explode and share our gifts and have the best life ever and be passionate, love what we do and share with others what we do. But they've taught us that that's wrong, as you were saying. No, that's crazy, that's wrong. You need to be another brick in the wall. And this kind of kills our vibe, kills our fire, kills our essence. And we just become a robot, right? So that's when I question people, like, really, are you living your life fully? If not, like from 1 to 10, man, and if it's below a 7, like, hey, really stop everything you're doing right now. Take a couple of days to breathe, journal on this stuff and get real, man, and start getting connected to what you want to do in this life, because you have everything available, infinite possibilities, but you gotta stop. You gotta stop the machine for a second. You gotta get out of that survival mode. We've been wired into living in survival mode, just barely making it, right? Instead of thriving. And the moment you stop and you say like, oh my God, like, what am I here really for? What is my passion? What do I want to do for the world? Man, that you start tapping into your full potential and you start getting fired up with all these ideas, and they will happen. As you were saying, sometimes I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. I have that confidence. And that's why we work, the inner work we're talking about. It's about building that inner confidence. As you were saying, not many people have that. Many people have lived in fear and doubt. So why not work with that instead of trying to work with something outside of them? Work on transforming the fear, transforming the doubts, transforming all these limitations that are not true. And from there, they will naturally thrive, because we are here to be free and to thrive.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's remembering you have a choice, right? So when you make the choice to go in and start doing this alchemy and look at the fears and look at the self-doubt and look at all the times you've given your power away and look at all the systems you're in right now that you actually don't want to say yes to because they're not in your highest, the minute you get raw and real with that, then you're in a place of clarity. Then from an aligned place, you can actually make a soul choice and go, you know what? Do I choose to actually commit to taking control over my future and creating my dream life and this manifestation and this thing thing here and this thing here? Or am I going to choose to not do that? Because you're actually making a choice either way, right? When you are in these systems and you think you're just in them, like, you know, you could say, oh, you know, I was just born into them, or it's just how it is, or, you know, my whole family's always lived like that. You're actually still making a choice. And that's what people don't realize. They've given their power away so much that they forget they're even making a choice, because it's so unconscious and it's so under the surface. So after you've gone through this alchemy, that's where you actually ask yourself, what am I choosing right now? And when you make a choice that's a powerful choice in alignment with your purpose, in alignment with light of the highest vibration, that's when that fire that Jeff is talking about gets ignited. That's when it naturally starts coming online. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to go create this or do this or build this or figure this out no matter what. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but the fire is there because you're actually making a choice from a soul decision, not from a distorted place of what everyone else thinks you should do.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of wonder, you know, so many people have been kind of put into the system now for so long. It's been like at least 100 years, probably thousands of years. I kind of wonder what humans were like before all this, because, you know, even just the school system, the government school system, which is absolutely heinous, like it just kills the creativity of the kids. It takes sucks their soul, basically. You know, the kids, they're not supposed to be sitting in a wooden chair when they're 6 years old, writing stuff down, being yelled at, have buzzers going off, go to room, you know, then 5 years later, you go to your career counselor, and he's like, well, you have this option of jobs and, you know, this sort of thing. And I kind of wonder, like, you know, I kind of look at like the Native Americans a little bit, and, you know, actually down here in Mexico, you know, it basically is Native Americans. So they just weren't as genocided or as wiped out as they were up north quite a bit. But then they got really destroyed with all the welfare and all the things they did, and putting them on reservations. It's horrible stuff. But I kind of wonder, like, who knows, maybe 1,000 or 10,000 years ago, I don't know when, if humans were a lot different. And I wonder if we're kind of just starting to realize that again and start to get back to that. And there's a bit of an awakening. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, man, I think we were much more connected to the earth. We were much more connected to nature, completely much connected to tribe, to community, to living, to working together, to co-creating together. We're here to co-create. We forgot that we're like one cell of this whole being that's pulsating. That's the earth. You know, we are part of her, and together we co-create. We can create heaven or hell here on earth. But the moment we're just in our egos and just in separation and just looking for me and scarcity, and there's not enough for everyone, and we gotta fight for this, we gotta hustle for this, we gotta push, and it's all this like almost disconnected masculine energy that started getting in the way. But if you analyze the societies before, they were guided by women too. The women were the ones that, you know, would be like in that like womb kind of like fertility, abundance, and help the men be more in their hearts. You know, the man would listen more to the woman, but not only the woman outside, but the woman inside of us, the feminine inside of us. It's not really about a male female of the body. It's more about the energy, and we have the both balanced energy inside of us. We enter what we call the surrender manifestation. You're manifesting, but you're manifesting from a place of intuition, from a place of flow, from a place of following your soul instead of following what you think is the best or what you think is the best steps. For me, I can tell you, I took my son out of school. He's out. We took him with us 20 countries this year. He's been learning more than he's learned his 14 years or whatever. He's 14, whatever, 8 years in school or whatever. But he's written his book. He's got his own podcast. He's got his 2 online business already going at 14 years old. He's rocking it, you know. And like that was 1 year of just receiving
and having a really
with
good
us.
time.
The best time ever, you know. So we're all about, you know, homeschooling and really wake them up and nurture their gift. It's so easy to just hold space for them and let them be in their full potential.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually have a full sort of unschooling sort of thing at Anarchapulco. We also have a Free Your Family camp. And I really recommend to people, if you've got kids, and if a lot of this sounds like kind of crazy to you, right? Like, well, because it's so outside of the box of what you've heard from the system your whole life, really like take the chance, in my opinion. And I'm not just saying it because it's, you know, sort of my event, but like take the chance and just come down with your kids and see what it's like for them to be around other people like Juanpa. I don't know if you're bringing your kid or not, but like you are? Great. Awesome. Yeah. So you be around people like that. I've been around so many kids who've been, kind of homeschooled, but more like unschooled, where there's like really no set structure of anything. They're just traveling around doing stuff with their parents, which is so important. That's actually a huge part of this problem is the system over the last few hundred years has taken the kids away from their parents, which is the most important place that they should definitely be. And they just throw them in this basically a concentration prison camp with a bunch of other kids their own age who also are very confused. And then they're just forced to memorize mostly propaganda for like 12 years. And when they get out, they can't even do anything. Whereas Juanpa's son's 14, he's already got numerous businesses. That's very normal with unschooled kids. So, but I've actually heard this a lot. I've seen it on Facebook a few times. A few parents, first of all, they're like, I'm not sure if I'm going to go. I'm not sure if I have enough money, that sort of thing. And, I was kind of saying to them, like, don't have that mindset. Like, have the mindset, I am going to go. Now, maybe you won't be able to. Maybe it just won't work out. But as long as you're, like, of the mindset, like, I don't think I can, I don't have enough money. When you're in this negative sort of mindset, maybe you guys could explain this. I can tell you guys know this stuff. I'm just learning about it. But when you're in this constant, like, I can't, I don't think I can, these sort of things, that I don't know how it works. It goes into your subconscious, or maybe there's something about like the energy of the universe. I don't know how it works. But that actually, when you say I can't, you won't be able to. And when you say I am, all of a sudden things will start to align. And it sounds really airy-fairy and hippie-ish and all this kind of stuff. But I've been doing it for a couple of years now, this sort of thing. And so have many people like my wife and many of my friends. And everything seems to go really well for us now. Whereas in the past, I'd be like, I hate this. I hate the government. I don't know if we're ever going to fix this. And now I'm like, we will fix this. I am going to be a part of fixing this. And it's all starting to flow. So, I can tell you guys kind of understand this kind of stuff. So maybe you can explain it to people.
Yeah, definitely. And you're right. And I feel like it goes beyond just thinking positive. It's not just like, yeah, it's all going to be perfect. It's actually reconditioning your mind, and especially your unconscious mind. And, our thoughts are linked to our belief system, which is linked to our unconscious belief system. And our unconscious is actually what's driving the show. So even if someone's writing out affirmations every day and they're like, yeah, but they don't actually get into their unconscious mind, then nothing much is going to shift. So when we start doing this, you can literally sit down, if you're watching this or listening to this, and ask yourself, with something you want to manifest, like maybe it is getting your kids to this event, right? And in the past you've been going, I don't know if I can, blah, 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 all of that in your head. Sit down and firstly purge all of that out, like get it out on paper. Just write down all your fears, all your doubts, all the stories you've been telling yourself. Just get it out. Then turn the page. You can rip it out, burn it, do whatever you want, right? But get a fresh page, and from that place ask yourself, okay, what does the highest version of me now choose to believe? And this is where you write down, I choose to believe that I get to go to this event. I choose to believe that the money's going to manifest. I choose to believe that it's going to be easy. I choose to believe that I'm fully supported in this process. And you write it out, and you write it out, and you write it out. Now, at the end of this, it's not uncommon to look at this and go, you know what? Well, I would love to believe that, but I don't, right? And after you've sat there for 20 minutes writing this out, you get to a place where you're like, well, I don't believe it. You've got to keep going. It's like a muscle. You don't go to the gym and work out once and all of a sudden have like a six-pack. It takes time. It's a muscle. You've got to practice it. So the next day you do the same thing. You write down. And you know what? You keep going on this until you go to write out whatever those beliefs were, and you can't even remember why you were writing them out because it's already your reality. You would not sit there and go, I choose to believe the sky is blue. I choose to believe this. You'd be like, the sky's blue. Of course the sky's blue. I'm not going to write that out. You'd be like, of course I'm going to that event. Of course I'd have the money to do that. Of course I'm fully supported. You get to that place where you're actually vibrating with that, and you know that you're there when it shows up in your physical reality. But until it's shown up, you've got to keep going. You've got to keep doing the workouts as far as we're concerned.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I wanted to add something of the work we're going to be sharing in Anarchapulco, because it's all about what Regan is saying of working with the unconscious mind, but also learning how to bring the unconscious mind out of your body. Because many people work through the mind and the mindset, and mindset is 50% and it's amazing. And as Regan was saying, it's not the woo-woo thing of like, oh yeah, I am abundance and that's it. But it's like, if your whole being is saying, 95% of your being is saying, I'm not good enough, I won't make it, I won't make the money, I don't deserve this, I'm not loved. All this stuff that we carry that we don't even know, it's in ourselves. It goes beyond our mind. You can be repeating whatever you want in the mind, but the nervous system has recorded this. The nervous system is like a machine, like a computer that records everything we've lived, especially when from 0 to 7 years that you don't even remember or know. It's all been recorded there. So all the work we do in all the workshops we're going to be sharing is how to bring the mind out of the body for the body to be free again. And you can use the body full of energy as a vehicle of manifestation. That's what the body is, instead of being a baggage that you're carrying from your past. You're repeating your past from the memories. You're reliving the past constantly if you don't shift those memories from your body.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. For me personally, it's been just the last few years that I've started to do and understand a lot of these things. And a lot of it was things like meditation. And it's amazing after a couple of years, just like you said, Regan, like you can just, like anyone who's never meditated, you could go meditate today. It's not going to do too much, because it's like you got to just do it every day until it becomes, sort of like just like anything. You just have to get better and better at it and that sort of a thing. And, just even in the last few weeks, I would say, I just started to notice some thoughts on my head. And like, you don't really notice them because you're not really aware of them until you can kind of work on yourself or meditate to a point where you can start to notice them, because they're kind of almost like in the background. And I think everyone's got them, and I can tell a lot of people have them because they actually say them out loud. They say things like, I'm not good enough, I can't. That's actually like programs in their head. But I actually started to notice a few of them. Actually, like I'd just be like just sitting there and I'd be like, what the heck? I said, I hate my life. I was like, where did that come from? And then go into meditation. I'm like, where is that coming from? But I was probably saying that most of my life, those sort of things. And when you're saying that over and over, and I don't understand it all. You guys, I think, understand a lot better than I do. But I think it's just constantly this track of negative sort of thoughts that for whatever reason are in there that you don't even notice, that keep perpetuating negative things in your life.
Yes. Yeah. Man, thank you for sharing that, because you've just nailed when you said like in the back of the brain without even knowing, but that's what we call the animal brain. And that's where we usually live. That's our survival mode. The frontal lobe right here is where our vision is, our manifestation is, our connection to the universe or to source or to the sun, to the stars, however you want to call this spiritual connection, where your channel opens, whatever that is. But it's actually the frontal lobe, which is where you have the visions. And the visions is what brings the manifestation. But we're so used to live in the back of our head, which is our survival mode of protection. They're going to hurt me. They're going to damage me. I have to protect myself. There's not enough. Let me just struggle more. So it's that shift that we want to do. And that's why I love bringing quantum physics into the world, because what you were saying, many people, when we start talking about this, it's like, oh, that's a hippie thing, that's a woo-woo thing. But no, there's no woo-woo-ness here. With quantum physics, we can prove how we've been living our lives in the back of our brain, and how we can shift that energy and bring the energy from it's called the thalamus gate. Actually, it's at the back of the brain. And when you open that doorway through breath work, through meditation, through all the practices that we guide, it opens up and starts building the callus. That's what connects the left and right side of the brain. Both of them start connecting, which is the masculine and the feminine side. We start entering that harmony, that balance in our lives, and we start getting to a place that we feel unstoppable. We feel so connected to life and to ourselves and to our mission, because we start building that mountain, that power that comes from within. But you gotta build it. You gotta build it from the back of the brain, start flowing all into the frontal lobe. That's where you activate the gamma brain waves, which are the waves of bliss, of abundance, of feeling so good with yourself and with life. But we gotta do the work in order to bring them in. They're not gonna happen alone.
Yeah, and really simply put, everyone has a mind and has an unconscious mind and has an energy field and a body, and it's like a system, and the system is like a computer. The computer needs a program to run on, and so what happens most of the time is it's running on an old program, and it's running from these old programs from a childhood or even from a family lineage. If you look up epigenetics, it's proven that this stuff is passed down through our DNA, past life stuff. There could be many different elements as to why these programs are running, but like your iPhone beeps at you every few months and it's like, system update, software update me, and it won't shut up till you're updated. Our system's like that too. When we go to step into something new, when we go into a new frequency bandwidth, when we step into a new layer of our vision, when we take back our power in another way, we have to clear out the old programs and actually create these new programs to run on. That's a lot of the core of the work that we do.
Yeah.
And talking about money, so many people have so many bad sort of ideas in their head about money. And actually, I know numerous people, I'll even mention them by name. Larkin Rose, who's one of the top speakers in Anarchapulco. He never seems to have any money. He's always scared to ask for money. He feels bad about receiving money. And I think this is also another program that's just in a lot of people. And I don't know why that is exactly. And, some people will say, well, money's really bad. If all you want is money, you're a bad person. And yeah, if all you really want is money, so you can have lots of stuff, so you can show off and you feel powerful and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, that's kind of stupid. But money in itself, to me, is just energy. It's just a transmission of energy from people. So if someone's doing something and they give something to you that you want, you give them back in the form of money, some energy as well. And I think people just really have a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people almost limit themselves just through their beliefs on their own worth and on things like money.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see this all the time. And, when it comes to money, yes, it's energy. And we also love to see it as an amplifier, right? And so ultimately, it's going to amplify the essence of who you are. So if you're really greedy and selfish and don't want to do good things in the world and you don't have money, well, you'll just be doing that on a small scale. And if you then get money, then maybe more people will know about you and you'll just do rich, greedy, selfish things on this larger scale. But it's the same thing. If you're someone with a pure heart and a humble heart of service and you want to leave this world a better place and you don't have any money or energetic resources to do that, well, you're going to do that on a really small scale, and that's a choice. Or you can choose to manifest large amounts of energy through money and tap in and have that amplified and actually leave the world a better place. Because at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, we are in this money system. And yes, it's now evolving and shifting, and there's a lot of movement and a lot of stuff going on right now, which is really exciting, but we are still in a world where there is this monetary exchange. And so if it's just you sitting by yourself, but you don't have the capacity to manifest and tap into more money, then the scale of the impact you are able to create is a lot smaller, and it's a lot harder to do so as well.
Yeah, I love that. For me, I also see money like we see it as a rebel from the system, right? All our rebels that I know, all the anarchists can have, we all have a rebel inside, right? And we're like rebelling against society and what it is. So let's find other ways to work that's not without money. I've done that all my life, man. I've always done exchanges with people, exchanges of energy, like so much. And people have come and learned with me through exchange. Like I love that exchange too, but I don't feel like that is going to take away from the money. That's okay. We're creating our own system, and one day we won't be working with the regular money that we know of. That's for sure, but that's what we got right now. So why might as well open up and make the best out of it and help as much people as we can and live the best life ever that we can, enjoying every cell, every minute of it, and use it in the best way we can. It's not about who owns the money. It's about what are we doing with the money.
Yeah, and if you're in this like kind of negative, wounded rebel space against money and against the money system, you're going to be blocking that. And then you also block your capacity to open up through curiosity to new money systems that are emerging, that are available. And there's so much coming through. I know Christoph is working so deeply on a lot of that right now and helping a lot of people wake up to that. But if you're sitting there in your rebel going, money is the root of all evil, then you're not going to have access to even the new incredible monetary systems that are actually trying to flow through right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, even that old saying, which of course gets implanted in our brain, a lot of this stuff is just programming, money is the root of all evil, is actually, I believe the actual saying in the Bible was the love of money is the root of all evil. And actually, I would kind of say, yeah, greed is pretty bad. Like it's one of the worst things out there. And that's what you're talking about ego and want and need and all this, and, scarcity and all these sort of things. But, even people get that one saying kind of screwed up and they're like, oh, money's the root of all evil. money's just a tool, just like anything else. And you point out rightfully that this money system that most people use in the world today, I try not to use it, but we almost always have to, because most people in the world today still use government fiat currencies. But that is actually, it's an absolutely terrible system. And that's what, as you pointed out, we're trying to create new systems, cryptocurrencies, so we can get away from that horrible sort of slave, centrally controlled, centrally planned control grid structure into a free structure where everyone, where you actually become, you'll actually hold your own currency in your own brain if you want, using cryptocurrency, and you actually become your own banks. So that's a pretty amazing sort of stuff. But yeah, just to get back to the point of a lot of people have this very negative sort of thing about money, and all of them seem to have no money. And there's other people who seem to be very kind of like you guys are, and a friend of mine like Joe B. Weeks comes to mind. He's just so about money. He's like, yeah, make lots of money, and we're going to do this and do that, and he's always got lots of money. And like you said, it's a mindset thing. And I don't know what you guys think about this. Like, there's this sort of like law of attraction sort of a thing, and there's the saying you create your own reality. And to some extent, I kind of think both those things are real. But how real is all this stuff? Like, well, that's kind of a funny question, because I don't think anything's all that real. But like for people out there, they're probably, I actually understand, because I've done a lot of this stuff now. But like when you say you create, when you fix your mind and get that doing the right thing, all of a sudden you create things. Like, what extent? I'm very confused how it all works. But it actually appears to be true that really, if you can just change your mind, all of a sudden your life changes, and it's almost unexplainable to me. Like, does this make all sense to you guys, or do you guys just notice this happens and just go, well, this kind of works?
Yeah, no, as we were saying, man, it's all quantum physics. The good thing is we can prove this right now. It's really all about energy, and more than, the affirmations and the law of attraction. Yes, that works, but that's like 15% of what we have available. If we add to that, like the unconscious mind and releasing whatever is holding us back, those beliefs. But as we said before, those programs need to be changed from the core of our nervous system. It's not just the mind. People work just on the brain, but if you analyze the brain goes right back down into the tailbone, and from the tailbone, it expands it's all the way out into the toes and the fingers. Like, the mind is everywhere. We can't see the mind just in the brain. And that's why we're all about embodiment. It's the whole thing. Like, every cell needs to be reprogrammed. Every cell needs to be awakened back to its natural state, because that's all we're doing. We're coming back to our natural state. Abundance is our natural state. Wealth is our natural state. If we're not living that, it's because something is blocking it. Something is on the way. We're not letting this flow happen, because we're all full of ideas. We all have the capacity to be an inner genius with thousands of projects coming through that are going to help millions of people and are going to create so much money that's just going to be shared with the world. That's our natural state. But in order to live it, it's not just like repeating it, an affirmation and reading a book, right? You got to do the work constantly. Like, what are you thinking? What are your thoughts aligned to? What are your emotions? Are you in a low vibration emotion? Are you constantly angry? Are you constantly frustrated? Or are you constantly grateful and feeling good and celebrating life? Because it's really a game. It's the game of manifestation. And in order to play the game, the winner of the game is the gratitude, acting from gratitude, living from gratitude. Let gratitude be your natural state. When that happens from the core of your being, you start emanating this energy that you can measure with machines. You can take photographs of this. You can see how much light is emanated from your nervous system. This is no woo-woo thing. And this light, this energy is what calls the same back to you. So whatever signal you're emitting out, you're broadcasting this signal out as the antenna that we are, because we are like cosmic antennas here, and we're vibrating something. We're sending always a signal out into the universe. What is that signal? Is it a signal of I'm not good enough and I have to struggle and like someday it will happen? Or is a signal like it's already done, I'm already aligned to that, and I'm just being grateful because that's already happening in my life? And the universe gets you back so fast if you're aligned with this energy. But it's a lifestyle, as we said before. Let it be your lifestyle instead of being a half an hour practice of let me get aligned in the right vibration.
Totally.
Yeah, I just remember there was a video by Josh Mason of Detox Dudes, and he's going to be coming to Anarchapulco as well. And he was talking a lot about this stuff about money and how he had that switch click in his brain, and he went from never having any money to having lots of money because he brought up gratefulness was actually the biggest part of it, gratitude. So he would say anytime he even paid for anything, he'd just give gratitude. So when he went to pay for his rent, he said in the past he felt all angry. It's like, who is this guy? Why do I have to pay rent for this house? And now when he pays anything like his rent, he's like, thank you so much. Thank you. I have this place that I can live right now. Thank you. Gratefulness, all this sort of stuff. And he actually said one thing that he actually went to a counselor sort of a thing about money, which was very interesting. And I think a lot of that stuff's quite good to do. And the guy told him a thing. And Josh said at the time, he thought the guy was just crazy. And the guy said, there's no difference between being rich and feeling rich. So if you actually don't have a lot of stuff, but you feel rich, there's no difference between that and you actually being a billionaire or anything like that. Because if you actually feel that way, then you're just like Bill Gates. Actually, you're way better than Bill Gates because Bill Gates is messed up. But that is interesting. Like it's a lot about mindset. And so I'm really glad you guys. Great to meet you guys. Like we could probably talk for hours. You're totally on the kind of stuff that I'm into right now. All this sort of awakening consciousness sort of stuff. And I'm just learning a lot about this stuff. And so many people at Anarchapulco are talking about this stuff, so I was really glad you guys are coming down. Really excited. We haven't really decided how you're going to be speaking or what you might be doing, or maybe you'll do a workshop. I don't know, but maybe you guys can just mention in the meantime what you do, how people can follow you, any sort of things that you might be doing that people might be interested in right now.
Yes, totally. Yeah, well, we run a lot of different live events and retreats. We speak all over the world. We have online products and courses. So the best place probably is all of my social media is under Regan Hillyer, and then it's reganhillyer.com.
Yeah, Juan Pablo Barahona. It's a little harder to get, but maybe we can write that down. And Juanpaglobal.com, and Juanpa Global in Instagram, and in Facebook also. We're there pretty much always sharing a lot of free stuff. We're all about awakening humanity in every way. So we're always sharing in every way possible to help everyone wake up to their full potential.
Totally. And if you follow us or reach out or message us or send us an email, let us know you came from this show as well. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we'll have all that information down below. And if you do courses and stuff like that, maybe you could do one at Anarchapulco. We'll be talking about that in the next couple of weeks. And maybe everyone watch on YouTube. If you like this video, you want to hear more, you're interested, maybe if they do some sort of a course or a workshop at Anarchapulco, say you're interested, so we know there's lots of interest out there, so we can move forward even faster on it and make that all happen, make it become reality. Put that all down below. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, share down below, especially with your friends out there who are kind of like they just always struggling. They'll probably think you're crazy. They're like, why'd you send me this video? It's stupid. It's like, those guys don't know anything. That's probably what they're going to say, but you at least got to try, right? So hit like, subscribe, share down below, and I'll leave it at that. Anarchapulco is coming up, if you don't know, February 13th to 16th in Acapulco, Mexico. Looking forward to seeing Regan and Juanpa down there, and I can totally tell we're totally going to get along. I'll leave it at that. So that's it for Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet. Peace, love.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
The greatest form of control is where you think you're free when you're being fundamentally manipulated and dictated. One form of dictatorship is being in a prison cell and you can see the bars and touch it. The other one is sitting in a prison cell but you can't see the bar, you think you're free.
What the human race is suffering from is mass hypnosis. We are being hypnotized by people like this. Newsreaders, politicians, teachers, lecturers.
We are in a country and in a world that is being run by unbelievably sick people. The chasm between what we're told is going on and what is really going on is absolutely enormous.
The world is waking up. In 2014, a small group of freethinkers decided it was time to change the world. Now, in 2020, 3,000 people will arrive in Acapulco, Mexico to lead the evolution. Ron Paul, John McAfee, Sherry Peel Jackson, Doug Casey, Freeway Rick Ross, Del Bigtree, Jeff Berwick, Larkin Rose, James Corbett, Jeffrey Tucker, Benny Wills, Angel Clark, and featuring performance artist Vinnie Paz.
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's saying shit what happened to the home of the brave. These motherfuckers, they controlling us now, and no one's talking about how they made us fight and be slaves. And everybody's just walking around.
Is a oblong box in the corner of the room. It is constantly telling us what to believe is real.
If you can persuade them that what they see with their eyes is what there is to see, you got them. Because they'll laugh in the face of an explanation that portrays the bigger picture of what's happening. And they have.